Thank you so much for coming. For those of you who don't know, I am Dennis Scully. I am the host of the Business of Home podcast, and I'm also the curator of the Dialogues on Design series here at the New York School of Interior Design. And this is a big fundraiser for our scholarship programs at the school, so I am especially grateful to everyone who bought tickets and to the people who have subscribed and also sponsored. And I'd love to give a special round of applause to this lovely group listed here who have generously sponsored the program. And we've actually been talking a lot about the need for more scholarships today, as it seems the Department of Education is shifting some things around about what gets to be classified as a professional and who doesn't. So my mother's a nurse, so please don't get her started on that. Apparently they're no longer professionals either these days. All right, good to know. But I'm grateful to everyone who has made this program possible. Let's get to Nicole, shall we? Yeah.
We shall.
Let's, please. So I am really thrilled to welcome a giant in our industry, Nicole Hollis. Nicole Hollis is the founder and creative director of the firm that bears her name. She built a practice devoted to interiors that elevate the human spirit, shaped by fine art, fashion, and the natural world. Her team works closely with artisans, architects, and craftspeople to create homes and hospitality projects defined by clarity, craft, and exceptional detail. A fixture on the AD 100 and the ELLE Décor A list, as well as Interior Design Magazine's Giant list, Nicole Hollis ranks among the top residential firms in the country. But beyond the rankings, what people respond to most is the unmistakable presence of her work. The way a space can be so rigorously composed and yet feel completely human, deeply felt, and quietly transformative. Will you please join me in welcoming Nicole Hollis?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
And thank you to the New York School of Interior Design.
We are thrilled to have you for so many reasons. And I wanted to, some of you might have heard the interview that I did with Nicole on the podcast. If you haven't, I encourage you to go back and listen to that. But let's tell people a little bit about where you come from, how you got started, just to catch them up before we dive into the many fabulous images that we have of Nicole's work to share with you.
Well, how far back do we need to go?
Well, you don't have to go back to early childhood unless you know there's something riveting you want to share with us there. But
no, but you know, we were just talking about education in schools, and
yes.
So my path was not as straightforward as most people's. I was not a great student. It turns out I was dyslexic, but nobody knew, so I was definitely relegated to some corners of the room. So it was very challenging for me educationally, but I knew in my mind I was free, and I loved design, I loved shapes, forms. I don't know, I just was into it. So they didn't really know what to do with me in school. So I always dreamt of attending FIT, so I didn't really have any SAT scores. Luckily, they didn't need those back then. So I came to New York with 2 boxes of clothes and applied to the night program. I got in, worked during the day, paid for my education. And I loved attending at night because a lot of the architects in New York City taught at night. So I was really excited to learn from them, and it was just an exciting time to be in design. So while I was hustling during the day, I worked at an architecture firm. So it was kind of this strange duality where I was in school during the day working on, you know, make-believe projects, but during the day, after I left school, I would go to work at the architecture firm on real projects. I had 11 architects criticizing all of my schoolwork and helping me along the way.
In the nicest way, I'm sure, criticizing.
Yeah. They were all very supportive.
Right.
You know, and it was a really great experience for me to learn how to present to clients or communicate my ideas, or watch my boss, you know, communicate his ideas. But it was back before the internet. Everything was hand-drawn. Running around the New York City getting samples, I'd go to the design center and they'd be like, women dressed in gorgeous clothes and Chanel, and I'd be in like combat boots and jeans and like carrying bags and bags of, but it was a great time. So yeah, I really enjoyed the working part of it more than the education part of it, I would say. I was just excited to get out there in the world and just work. So I left FIT before graduating, but I took all my core classes and moved to California. And I started working for a hotel company, Starwood Hotels, on developing a brand of hotels called W, which you've all heard of now, but back then.
A little known brand called the W Hotel. Yeah.
I didn't know anything about hospitality design, and that's why they hired me, because they were doing something new and different. So I worked there, and it wasn't for me. So I left and joined an architecture firm with the architect Howard Backen, and worked for Howard working on residential design, as well as some hotels and wineries. And that's really the biggest mentor that I had was Howard. He was very generous with his ideas and his time. I was invited to attend a lot of client meetings, so I learned a lot in the field about architecture, as well as interiors. So I didn't have a traditional interior background as far as like decorating, fabrics and finishes and antiquities. That was not my trajectory. It was more architectural. So having worked in interiors in an architecture firm, when I started my own firm, I set it up like an architecture firm because that's all I kind of knew. So we run our firm that way. It's set up in phases like architecture phases, but obviously we have a big portion of our work is the furniture and decorative arts. But we also do interior architecture. So it's kind of that path that brought me to create this firm.
So tell me more about what that means to set it up as an architecture firm and what that structure looks like.
Yeah.
Because, and we should tell people that it's a sizable firm, although as you said to me just a little while ago, well, you wouldn't say that if I was an architect, but for a design firm,
it is, yeah.
It's a pretty big firm.
Yeah, I think so.
Right? 120, where did we land? 120 people?
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds like a pretty big firm, right? Yeah. Yeah.
I think, setting it up like an architecture firm, there are different phases of the projects that the architects follow in their rigorous practice. So taking those sort of phases and forms, and what my intention was to be architecturally friendly. So I wanted to collaborate with architects, really good ones, and work on interiors and make sure that the interiors were very much aligned with the architect's vision, and that some architects get very frightened when an interior designer come on the project and they're afraid they're going to ruin their project or their design. So I wanted to reassure them that we spoke the same language, we understood how to create drawings, we do rigorous architectural drawings and communicate ideas the same way they do. And then we would be very collaborative, they could rest at ease, we could support them in any way that they needed. But we get very granular in our detail and our architectural drawings and cabinetry and trim and base and crown. And so I think, it was working for me. That's how the vocabulary I always knew. I didn't really know how to set up a firm any other way.
No, that makes total sense. And do you feel that served you well?
I think it sets us apart.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I think so. I mean, we're doing pretty well.
Seems like you're doing well,
and,
yeah.
It does help. I think it helps us in the regards to larger scale projects, that we can have the capacity to take on larger estate projects. We have many family estates that we work with their family offices. The clients have many homes in different parts of the world, and so we are equipped to sort of handle that scale of projects.
And did you find, we had Andre Malone here last week, who came up as an architect and then evolved into design, and he felt that understanding the vocabulary, to your point,
right,
and the language, and even just the sensibility of architects and architecture helped him to more easily navigate and think about projects in a different way.
I think it's important to at least have a understanding of architecture and to be able to communicate ideas to a builder and to an architect and to the craftsmen themselves. I mean, there's amazing craftsmen that we work with on every project, and I think communicating an idea in a drawing, you can only go so far, but when you meet with them in person and maybe meet them in their shop or their studio and really talk about the concept of what you're trying to accomplish, and then they bring you ideas. But to be able to do that, you have to at least begin with some sort of sketch or drawing. And so I think architecture taught me that, how to communicate with drawings.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Forgive me, because usually I start by asking how many students are with us tonight. So show of hands, students. Oh wow, quite a few. Oh, great. Well, I'm so glad you're here. I know it's a crazy, frantic time of year for you, and lots of, this is such a tough school too, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah, exactly, it's final week, I know.
Finals,
and
yes.
so I'm especially grateful that you could make the time to come, and so glad that you're here. And Nicole, who very sweetly said, I really don't want to talk about me that much. Let's talk about what's going to help the students and what's going to give them insights. So we'll quickly, but I mean, what I wanted to better understand or hear you talk about a little bit was when you felt you really were starting to get traction with your firm, and what were some of the early turning points for you where projects started to really come in a meaningful way?
Yeah, I think it was, we were, when I started, there was no social media. So it was, getting traction as far as getting in a magazine or having press about you. It was very difficult. I mean, you're competing with a lot of really great firms. So I just figured, okay, the only way I'm going to get work is word of mouth. And so I started reaching out to architects that I admired their work and started trying to have lunch or have dinners or drinks or any way I could get in front of them to say, hey, I'm a designer, but I can work with architects. And so learning, what they're working on, what they're doing, asking them to give me a chance. So that kind of, once that clicked for me, I could start sort of getting in and understanding what firms I want to work with and aligning myself with other architects. And then we would become partners in projects, and then we'd work again and again. So I think, after working with Howard, starting to work with Greg Warner at Walker Warner Architects, I met Greg a couple of times, mentioned to him, hey, I'm an interior designer, I'm in the Bay Area, my office is close to yours. He'd be like, okay, great, and then never hear from him again.
He's like, great, good to know. Yeah, great. See ya.
But I had to remind him again, and so, I finally one day he was like, hey, he called and he said, hey, I have a client who's looking for 3 interior design for, can I put your name in? And so that's kind of how it started. It was very much word of mouth and just continually reminding people, hey, I'm here, this is my work, let me show you what I can do. So I think once I figured that out, started working with bigger architecture firms on the bigger projects, that was kind of a turning point for the firm.
Okay. And was there a specific project that you really felt represented the kind of work that you wanted to do, that people got to see and say, oh, now I see Nicole Hollis and what she is capable of?
I'm still waiting for that project. But there was, I think during in 08, when there wasn't a lot of work going on, and I had lunch with an architect, just like, can I buy you a pizza? Like, what can I? And we had lunch. He put my name in, and I was the throwaway. I knew that I was I'm not going to get this project, but he was like, you're the third, the other 2 really good firms, and then there's you. And I was like, I'll take it. So the clients came to our office late. They were at the other 2 firms getting, presentations. They were supposed to be at our office by like 2 p.m. They show up at 4. And
oh, wow. So they're quite late.
And they had to leave because they were like, we have to go. Like, we have to catch our flight. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, they said, well, what did you prepare? And I said, well, I didn't prepare anything because I don't know you. I've never met you before. I don't know how you live your life. I don't know what your personal style is, what your architectural style is. Like, I don't know. So he's like, okay, well, that sounds good. And all of a sudden, he was like, I said, really? And his wife kind of just perked up, and she had studied architecture. She had never practiced, but she had studied architecture, and she was, all of a sudden, she was like, that's the right answer. Like, you shouldn't know what to design yet, because you haven't met us. And I said, I'd really like to get to know you better. I'd love to show you what we can do. So then he was like, well, what would you do? And I kind of described what I thought was the right thing for their, you know, for this. I knew what the site was. It was in Hawaii. I had never worked in Hawaii before, and I was really trying to get work there. So I
As we all are.
described it, yeah. And they said, well, that sounds great, but we have to go. And I was like, okay. So they left, and I was like, oh, dang, I don't think we got that. And then like 10 minutes, and we had, our office was in a old machine shop. So when we had to turn on the heater, we couldn't take calls. So they left, we turned the heater on, and then the phone rang, and I was like, turn the heater off. And so I'm like, hello, and it was them. They called from the car, and they said, you know, we're just talking, we're on our way to the airport, but we'd really like to work with you. Could you come to our house in LA, you know, next week so we can talk some more? And I was like, great. Hung up, I'm like, yeah, like we all screamed, the whole office.
Wow.
We were so excited.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a nice, like, take a chance on the smaller firm. And we became, you know, great, they became great clients. We worked together in several houses, and it was kind of a turning point for sure.
Yeah, and at such a great time. I mean, the financial crisis,
I think he was a smart guy. He knew to build at that time because he would get great prices.
Yes.
And so, yeah, very smart person.
Yeah. And it sort of got you going.
Got us going.
Yeah.
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 Sure. So
I want to jump into our first slide because it's gonna tell us a lot about your We tried to clean up the language a little bit for the audience, but
we were talking on the phone, and I said to Dennis, I don't know if you know this quote by Miles Davis, but I kind of remind myself of it. And it just kind of spoke to me because, and we talk about, like, you know, maybe we all went to the same school and took the same courses, but it's really about your individual attitude towards a person or a project or a place. And for me, that's really the sort of differentiation that you have between one designer and the next, or anybody in their field. And having my unconventional path, I would just remind myself, it's just about your attitude.
It's just about your attitude. And you had to overcome so much, as you were sharing earlier.
Yeah.
So in the early days of dyslexia, people didn't know what to do with dyslexia or what or what it meant, and so it didn't make things easier for you. School was a challenge.
I mean, even work today, I have workarounds for everything. I love voice to text, even though the spelling is not great, but it's a lot easier than me typing. You will get very long emails from me. Like, I'm just not an emailer.
Right.
I'll call you and we can talk for a long time, and nobody calls anymore, so they're surprised when I call. But I'd much rather talk on the phone than, you know, communicate written word. Because of my dyslexia, it makes it challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's great that you've discovered so many workarounds.
Yeah, you just have to have a workaround.
You have to.
Yeah.
So what's the attitude you've developed?
Well, nobody was going to outwork me. Like, maybe I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I was going to work harder than anybody else in the room. So I just kept plugging away and just really knew that if I kept at it, I was going to make it somewhere, somehow. So I just kept looking forward. And I just knew that, you know, having that can-do attitude. I worked for Howard back in. Howard loved wicker. He loved wicker in all his projects. I had just moved from New York City to Northern California, and I was like, what's up with this wicker everywhere? But I was going to do wicker like nobody's business.
Want wicker? I got you wicker.
I got wicker.
Sure.
I just was like, I'm going to give him what he wants and what he didn't even know he wanted. Like, I just was going to embody what he wanted. It wasn't about me, and it wasn't about my ego or my style. It was about what Howard was, his vision for the project for the client. It was clear about the client, but it was really about being the best, like, I don't know, number 2 to the number 1. So I didn't need to be like the star. I wanted to show him that I could do the work, and I would show up with 110% no matter what wicker chair he wanted. So I think, for me, it would always be about that. And I think now that I'm a principal of a firm and I have employees and trying to show up for them and make sure that they're getting what they need, as well as my clients are getting what they need, which is what I try and communicate to our younger staff is we're in service. This is a service industry. We are in service of our clients. So I want to get in their heads, really understand what it is they need, how does the house need to function for them, and then we could talk about what it looks like. But I really need to understand how they live and what's their lifestyle, and then bringing that into our projects and making sure that we're really understanding and exceeding their expectations.
And is that a tone that you set in the office? Because often we are in service of the client, and often we are a service business is harder for some people than others to sort of wrap their head around.
Some don't make it in our office, and that's okay. Maybe it's not the right firm for them. They maybe want to have their own firm or be an Instagram star, or so I think it's really about collaboration in our office, teamwork, and bringing these great ideas to life and being collaborative. So we do try and instill, it is a collaboration, it is about bringing service to our clients, and some, there are egos in the industry, designers want their ideas. So when we present an idea and maybe they worked all night on this drawing and I show it to the client and I could tell by the client's face they may not love it. And then I'm like, so anyway, and I push it away. And the team is just they look so sad, I just killed their baby. But you have to be able to just quickly pivot and say, that's not what you want. Oh, I think I understand what you want. And you start drawing or sketching or just coming up with ideas on the spot. And I think sometimes we fall so deeply in love with our idea, but we're not really listening to the client. We're just kind of in our own heads. So it's a constant battle that we have with ourselves as designers, and we're in the service. So they may ask for something that we don't recommend, and we just say, sure, we'll take a look at that. We're never going to do that. But it's important.
We'll explore that, though. That's a great idea.
And it may be a good idea. Maybe we think it's silly, but then we end up falling in love with it. So you have to really listen to the client. And so it's an ongoing discussion that we have, because people want to show their work and how talented they are, and I don't blame them, but we have to remember that we are of service.
No, and as you say, the ability to immediately detect that it's not going over well and having to quickly pivot, that's, I mean,
feel
so
like
much
that's kind of my superpower, where I can just tell.
Yes.
That's why Zoom is so difficult, because sometimes you can't see a client, and sometimes they don't even turn their camera on, right? And you need those facial expressions.
Yes.
You need to see that they don't love it.
Right.
And usually you can tell by their body language. They don't love it. They don't want to say they don't love it. They don't want to be rude. So I'll just be like, anyway, there's something else that we wanted to show you. And, but sometimes on Zoom, it's a little harder to pivot.
And has Zoom become a lot of the meetings that you're having as a result?
It is very convenient for clients not to travel to our offices. And we have so much materials and samples and rugs, and so we're on the road with suitcases going to them, and I'd rather do that than do it on Zoom and hold up a piece of wood and this is what it's difficult. So it is challenging. We've upped our game in renderings, trying to photo reel to try and convey ideas, but it is challenging.
Because so much of it is sales too,
it's
right?
Absolutely sales. You're selling a dream, you're selling an idea. It's very much about bringing it out of them and then exceeding their expectations.
And did that come naturally for you?
Yeah, I think I was hustling.
You were hustling from the start.
For sure, yeah.
So that part was easy. Let's jump into some of your work and have you talk about it. So tell us where we are and what this is.
We are in Northern California, sort of the Healdsburg wine country area. This is a very small ADU we did for a client. It's a 1-bedroom.
It's just an ADU?
Just an ADU.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
We wanted to show this photo. This is an artist out of England, Nick Webb. He made these gorgeous wooden vessels that he would carve. And we had them in our offices, like this vessel is so beautiful to put on a table. And then we're like, what if we turned it over and made it into a light? So we asked him, would you make these light fixtures? And so now he's mostly doing light fixtures, but we had challenged him to make it into a light, and so he did. So it's all wood. It's burnt on the outside and carved wood on the inside.
And that's become one of the big cornerstones of your firm, is your close collaboration with artisans and craftspeople. How did that evolve over time?
I think it's just my favorite part of the work is, and you know, there are many firms that specialize in antiquities, and you know, I'm just interested in like what's next, what's new, or just learning about craft, living artists, working with them in their studio, learning what they're doing and how we can incorporate it into our projects. So I think it's just that, you know, importance of craft that we just can't forget. So really bringing that to the client, and you know, a lot of these artists are living, so it's so fun to bring the clients to their you know, like Peter Lane doing his clay. If you bring someone to Peter Lane's studio, they're gonna buy something from Peter Lane. It's just gorgeous. So I think it's a really exciting part. And then they get to be part of the process. They get to really experience the whole path of this piece being made by the artist, just specifically for their home. So it's a nice original piece.
Yeah, and great to, as you say, get to work with these living artists. This is the pool.
It's a little lap.
Yeah, just a little lap pool.
Yeah, a little lap pool on the side. It's a beautiful light fixture at night as well. It kind of glows. But it's important to talk about the indoor-outdoor aspect of California, and the light is so beautiful and the landscape's so great. So really playing down pattern and color inside and really just letting the outside be the star. So it's really about materiality and texture. Yeah, so these are actually 2 photos of the same room, but yeah, headboard. So yeah, just bringing all these different pieces to life, and yeah, everything has a pattern or a color or a texture, but it's very soft and quiet. Hinoki bathtub, Japanese style bathtub.
I love it.
Yeah, and then this is how we made it a much bigger house by living outside. So you have a living room, you have kind of a hangout area, a dining room, there's an outdoor kitchen. So I think it's really about living outside and gathering and really having a great time. But it's relaxed.
Yeah.
Nothing fussy.
No, it's an incredible space.
Now let's talk about some fussy.
These people, a little different.
This is such a fun and challenging project for me and my studio. We worked on this project for about 8 years. And it's a historical house in San Francisco. I don't think the owner would mind me telling he's really into the Grateful Dead. And this house was the house that Grateful Dead recorded in first, in Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco. So when the house, he knew about the house, he's kept writing to the owner, when you're ready to sell the house, let me know. And finally he bought the house. So husband and wife came to us and they said, you know, we want it to be rock and roll, Haight-Ashbury, Grateful Dead meets Burning Man meets Victorian Moroccan. And I was like, what? Lots of color. The mood boards were like, they send me photos of sunken living rooms and rainbows, and it was just, I was like, this is amazing. So as we evolved over the years, we went to Morocco together so they could see, do you really like Morocco? And if you do, what do you love about it?
Right.
So we brought the craftsmen in to do the Moroccan ceiling in the previous slide. This room is all lacquer. It was all made on the East Coast and then shipped out to California. The chandelier is a sculpture by Olafur Eliasson that we just hung over the dining room table. And then the dining room table is lacquered with a secret Lazy Susan, because we should all have Lazy Susan in our formal dining room. So it was really fun, very challenging, every detail. I mean, all the crown molding is designed by our studio, all the hardware throughout the house. The legs on the island were the former posts of the staircase that we tore out to build the new staircase. Oh, okay. So we just tried to like keep it fun and and really, but you know, there's a level of sophistication, and this house that is a house that their family can grow in. This is his study. He's really into music. This is Jerry Garcia in the house. This photo was taken in the house. The walls are upholstered. It's all acoustically sound. You know, he has a record collection, so it's like top-notch sound just to listen to records in the room. But it's a gorgeous room.
Amazing, amazing.
So here's our powder room. We went for it. David Wiseman, the artist who did the bronze screen and the mirror, he had never done this three-dimensional type of work before, and he started working and he usually only works in hand drawings, so he started working in 3D mapping and 3D map these serpents hanging on the screen and on the mirror. And then the walls are all pink onyx, of course.
Of course they are. I mean...
And David wanted to do the toilet paper holder.
Seriously, seriously. We had
There's
to
a
keep
little
this slide
frog on it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. There's mushrooms, there's crystals, there's, yeah.
Yeah, there's some detail there. Even the flusher on the toilet he wanted to do.
I mean, come on.
The staircase, when we were in Morocco, we met these amazing Syrian women doing this beautiful hand inlaid, so we asked them to do the handrail that goes all the way up. So it has like all these motifs that are personal to the client inlaid into the handrail all the way up. And then the bronze pickets were made, of course, in Belgium, but all custom designed by our studio. So it was a lot of fun, like to bring all these crazy elements and try and exceed and like elevate their ideas.
Did they come to you with a budget at all on this project, Nicole, or?
No.
That's a great
No schedule,
client.
no budget, yeah. So the skylight is by another artist, Studio Job, and they created the stained glass with motifs that the client had given. And there's obviously a Grateful Dead shotgun in there as well.
Fantastic. I love that they carried it through in all this detail.
So this is like the heaviest Moroccan floor. This is the primary suite. And it was really fun. I mean, why not?
Right? I mean,
the headboard is hand-carved, artist in San Francisco. This was drawn by a tattoo artist in The Haight, who is a Mandela, and we took that tattoo, blew it up, and then had it carved into the headboard.
I mean, of course.
Why not?
Why not,
TV
right?
pops out of
out of that cabinet?
Out of that cabinet, yeah. It's all really engineered because you have to put the TV between the cavity of the two floors. I mean, it's a lot, but we make it look so effortless.
Yeah.
Amazonite carved bathtub. So this whole room
Seriously, do you see that bathtub?
Yeah, the crane day getting that tub in was very nerve-wracking.
The crane day.
Yeah. It was an interesting house. I mean, we didn't even know the ceiling did that till we started to demo and then realized that it pitched up. So we kind of pitched up the bathroom ceiling. But it was definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, the most fun is I think the next one, right, is her closet.
Her closet.
All the hardware is precious stone jewelry, and it was all custom made for her closet, but it was about this painting of the ceiling the artist created, and it turns day glow when you turn on the black light, because everyone should have a black light in their closet. So and it was so fun. She's just like, I just want to hang in my closet and have some fun with my friends. And we're like, okay. The clothes are insane. I should have put the clothes in there because it's all like day glow and gorgeous couture. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. And then down below we have a bar area, bar lounge, which we call the Joy Bar. Yeah.
The whole place is so joyful. I mean,
this is the
this.
media. This is all hand beaded Décor. We wanted it to feel like smoke billowing through the room with a custom hookah by the Haas brothers. It was just so fun. Every idea we brought to them, it was just like, yeah, let's do that. And we're like, really? But you know, we have a lot of color, but we kind of color blocked it. I just didn't know if I could do a lot of different colors in one room. So everything's like, this is the green and this is the blue, and sort of kind of you flow through the house to these different colored rooms.
And did that flow work?
It works really well.
Yes.
It's a really fun, but very warm.
Right.
Like all the floors are reclaimed timber, so it just has a warmth and imperfection to some of it, which is important, I think, to them.
Well, it's extraordinary.
Yeah, it was fun. And
of course, I mean,
underground recording studio.
You know, sure.
We've had a lot of fun in this room. It's been some good parties for sure. Musicians show up and just start playing music. as they should.
So it's just a jam room.
Jam room, yeah. I mean, he lives.
Maybe some substances.
He does, like.
Sure, you know.
Well,
yeah, he's a
San
deadhead,
Francisco.
I'm assuming. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's state of the art. I learned a lot about acoustics. They hired the best acousticians. He designed Hendrix Studio, Bruce Springsteen. So I got to hang out with this guy and learn all about the recording studios, and it was fascinating and such an education. So I feel like I learned every day on this project about many, many things.
It looks like.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Then you go to this house. It's like more minimal. This is a project we did with Olsen Kundig, still in Northern California, for a family with 3 kids. Yeah, and it's just, again, their family home, but a lot of different craft people, you know, working identified throughout the house. But yeah, we can go. David Wiseman again. But it was nice because the way Tom Kundig designed the house is very connected to nature. There's views in every room. And then Andy Cochran, the landscape architect, just nailed it with the landscape. So beautiful. So that made it easy. It's a little artist nook. Frederick Kunoth, who has a show at Pace right now. Yeah. So again, Tom created this beautiful living room. So really it was about connection to nature. So keeping the furniture a little eclectic and just having a gathering place, but not really being so much about the furniture as much as the outdoor connection.
Yeah, and the light and the outdoors and
yeah. This is kind of the family hang area, so very close to the kitchen, building in this window seat. It's fun to hang out with kids. So yeah, easy, relaxed, nothing too precious. The longest kitchen, that's only half the kitchen island. That's the longest kitchen island. It's probably about 25 feet long, all steel, but really so cool. And we programmed the kitchen for each, so the chef could just be on one side. He doesn't have to run around.
Okay.
And again, bedroom with views out, so you just feel like you're in a tree house. So really fun, very soft colors. Created the primary bath, so the bathtub obviously looks out to the trees, but having a screen developed, so we worked with an Italian company to create this sort of room divider with the stone and the wood pieces. And then her vanity, and then the dual vanities, yeah. So again, you get views both ways.
Yes, really spectacular. So at some point in the career arc, do you become known as this person who can deliver this kind of materiality and people are drawn to you because of that? Oh, she's going to bring in all these incredible craftspeople and artists. I mean,
I hope so. I think, you know, one is the sort of the rigor that we bring and the focus on architecture and delivery. And then the other is like there's this creative edge where we're always trying to bring these artists to the projects and come up with ways to collaborate with them and working with great galleries and sort of identifying like, how can we bring this art? Okay, this is a great piece, but this doesn't fit in that house. But can you make something 3 times bigger, and sort of working from scratch, but with material that clients love, but the artists are creating just for them. So again, it's tricky because they all know each other, and you don't want them to go in each other's house and they all have the same thing. So it's not like, oh, I have a David Wiseman screen too, because they all like, Nicole, well, you did a David for her. Can I have one? And I was like, well, you can have something different. You can have this.
Right.
So there's also that balance where you just want to make sure you're not repeating the same work.
Do they all know each other? Are they all? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Kind
so
of.
you got to mix up everyone's screen. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can see that. This is so.
So that's the bedroom looking over the pool, and then there's a whole outdoor, you know, dining, living area.
So it doesn't rain here? Doesn't it rain in these places
Not that
where all
much,
this
not
outdoor?
Really. No, we're always in drought.
Yeah. That's the upside of the drought situation.
Upside, yeah.
Good news is you can have this outdoor living room. Bad news is, soon there won't be water.
Yeah, there's AstroTurf, yeah.
All right, it's a trade-off, yeah.
Yeah. This is a house in San Francisco, in the city, that is a historical house that we sort of brought up to modern sensibilities. The client had a large art collection, and we just felt like the house needed to support that. And so the first thing we did was change the staircase to a closed staircase and made it a lot more sculptural, to sort of knowing this pumpkin was going to be living there. We kind of needed the stair to be quiet and sculptural. So taking out all the pickets and railings and all the busyness and just spiraling down to the pumpkin.
I love it.
Creating an intimate powder room with an artist, Johanna Groander. She created the ceiling light fixture, and then commissioning the sink in the bright blue. So it's kind of a surprise when you go in there to turn that light on, and all of a sudden it's like disco. Quiet moment with art and a beautiful Rick Owens daybed. The new floors, so they're herringbone, a nod to tradition, but very more contemporary in their scale and shape. And then again, just supporting the art collection with some simple form furniture, but nice for gatherings.
Yeah.
We did the fireplace, like what do? You normally put a painting over the fireplace. So we did a curved marble fireplace instead. So it concaves forward. So that was really fun to design. And then this is the hang living room area, and then all the books we curated with the art galleries to get all the artists that they collect, and all their works are here, so you can really dig into the art books.
That's cool.
And pink powder room. This is a fun kitchen we had made in Italy, so again, having really strong marble, like that's a real statement. So just quieting the cabinetry behind and on the side, and then having the hood and the marble. But there's real craftsmanship here, and real, like when you go to their shop, like they finish the wood that they're applying the marble to. Like everything is so beautifully, so it's like couture for your home. I mean, you open the drawers and the lights go on, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful kitchen.
So to your earlier point about showing them things in a presentation and getting a sense, so what did they share with you, or what did they convey to you that said, yes, this would be the kitchen that I would want? Because it's a pretty bold and dramatic.
I don't think they knew what they wanted until we were like, we're going to do this. And they were like, wow, okay, you know.
Yeah.
The story of this home was we did it during COVID. And the client was like, how can I continue doing this project during COVID? I really feel guilty. And I understood where she was coming from. But I was like, listen, you have at least 1,500 people working on this project. There's craftsmen, there's artists, there's architects, builders. We're all working on this. If you stop the project, these people lose their livelihood. So she was like, oh, I hadn't thought of it that way. So I was like, you must go on. And she's like, we must go on. And it was a beautiful sentiment where she, even though it was COVID, would show up herself on site for meetings. You know, we're all masked up and standing outside, but very committed to the entire team and the entire process. And really just like getting, this whole kitchen was fabricated in Tuscany during COVID. So it was, we usually go on a shop visit, but we couldn't go. So it was Zoom calls and then language barriers, but it made it. But it was definitely more of a challenge during that time. So I really commend my team. They 110% worked on this from home.
Oh my gosh, and I'm sure it was incredibly challenging.
Yeah.
And coordinating all of that remotely.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. But how extraordinary that so many people would be working, I mean, as you say, through all the artisans and the craftspeople and everything else.
I mean, I think, you know, there's probably about 30 people that worked just on that kitchen in the fabricator side, you know, not even our side and the builder side. And then the electricians and the waterworks fixtures. And, you know, I think it's like there's so much going on that they don't realize how many people are involved. And so you kind of have to remind them, like, this is really a bigger thing. Yeah,
no, extraordinary. I'm going to plant a seed in that in a little while we're going to open it up for questions and bring microphones around for anyone that might have a question. So think of your questions now as we get through the rest of these images.
Same story. Ingrid Donat is an artist in Paris, and she handmade this room. The crown molding is all bronze, and it's all hand done by Ingrid. The wall paneling carved base is all bronze. The fireplace is bronze by Ingrid, and the dining table and the light fixtures. So we wanted to give the room to this maker and say, you create this room. This is the size of it. So we worked together. But then COVID, we couldn't go and work with her. So she built the room on her side in her warehouse and sort of worked on it there and sent pictures and photos and drawings and then packed it all up and shipped it to San Francisco, and then they put it in. So it was an ordeal,
Yeah.
but worth it. It feels like a chapel. It's so beautiful in there. It's a very quiet, spiritual room. Yeah,
Yeah.
the primary bedroom. Going for it with the marble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a bulk rate on the marble, I'm hoping? You got,
Yes,
good,
I bought it
good.
direct from the quarry.
Yeah, oh,
Yes.
that's great.
Yeah. Here, a house in Northern California. We thought, show the exterior. This is with the architect Snowhetta. So it's a very interesting interior because no walls were, everything's curved. The ceiling is curving one way. The walls are curving another. So how do you furnish it? It was very challenging.
Yeah.
Great art collection. So really just trying to honor the architecture and quietly furnishing the space.
Yeah, the art is so
It's kind
dramatic.
of hard to see the chandelier, but it's a commission the artist Pei White, and so she created this large-scale chandelier, but the ceiling is not straight, it's angled, and then it has cooling panels in the ceiling, so where we could attach was challenging. So there's all these like things that most people would never know by looking at a photo, but there were so many challenges to creating this space, but it really came off great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So keeping it simple. I mean, again, the ceiling's going down and around, and there's a skylight, and then it's curving, so it's a lot. We asked Michael Anastasiadis, who designs the lighting. He created this custom pendant mobile for the space because we just knew the volume needed to be filled somehow with a nice drawing, as it looks like his hand drawing. And then a view from above of the sunken living room. And the primary bedroom. Fun. Her closet. The glass is like iridescent, so it kind of creates this gorgeous color, so we thought we'd share that. That's fun.
Beautiful.
And then Damien Hirst pill wall covering. And then kids hang area. So it's just, you know, fun. Embodies sort of the architectural rigor that, because the furniture really had to take a backseat to this
To this
structure.
incredible structure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so dramatic. And then you got into,
Making stuff.
so finally you wanted to make some stuff.
Well, you know, like I said, I really love working with artists and craftsmen, and so there'd be this list in our office, like, we can't find the perfect this or that, or, you know, so finding people that this is their craft, and, you know, the pillow that's made with horsehair, like she does each individual horsehair in that pillow, like it's crazy, insane beauty. So really just seeking these artists out and asking them if they'd be part of our collection. So it's been really fun.
So you and I were having a conversation about AI recently.
Yes.
Yeah, and we were talking about the fact that, so people can say, oh, show me a Nicole Hollis living room, and ChatGPT or other tools can create that. And your feeling was, oh, well, so what? They're creating.
So what? I already did that room.
Exactly, some old project. I mean, so you've sort of moved on.
It's a great tool, of course. If you want to convey an idea, it's more efficient, for sure. Like, well, maybe it's not perfect, but it's going to help you. And I think of it as a tool. I don't think anyone's going to be replaced by that. You're still going to have great ideas, and you have to be able to prompt it to make those great ideas. But it's really about those connections and about really being in the room with the artists, with the builders, with the makers. You can't replace that. So I'm not that worried. Maybe I should be. I don't know.
It's not keeping you up.
No.
Are you guys using AI a lot in either in school or in life or anything? Yeah, a little bit.
It's kind of like you have to catch up the real life that's happening out there.
To keep up with real life?
Yeah.
You have to use AI? Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Maybe I'm not keeping up
Interesting.
then, yeah.
If you want to, the best way to treat your enemy is to know them.
Okay.
Okay.
Sin Tzu. All right. Great. So we're bringing the
but
art of
who's the
war to the
enemy?
whole thing here. Yeah. Okay.
No, I just don't. I think it's a tool, and we can definitely be more efficient. We could probably save our clients so much more money if we draft faster floor plans or speedy renderings, or, you know, I definitely think we should all be enjoying that and looking into it. I'm not afraid of being replaced. If AI could sell an idea to my clients, like, personally, then I'd be worried.
Yeah.
But I saw the robot, he kind of like falls over.
He's not very good serving
Not
the
very
drinks.
good,
I
yeah.
know. Yeah.
So I just didn't
Yeah.
get worried.
You're not losing sleep over
I think you
that.
still have to have that personal connection, and there's trust. Like, if you could sit in a room and talk to a client about their personal home, and it's very personal for them, and they don't want all that on the internet or out in the world. They're not going to. I can't put it in ChatGPT who they are and what they like. You just can't.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of privacy issues, I think, that we all need to be aware of. But overall, if you're just trying to recreate a Nicole Hollis room, have at it. Do it.
Yeah.
I think the hardest part of our job is delivering.
Well, exactly, and speak to that, because a lot of people say to me, Dennis, listen, at the end of the day, are they going to be able to do all the procurement? Are they going to be able to get all of that there
Get it
on
there
time?
in one piece, like it's going to be broken or damaged or
all that
wrong
pink
thing.
marble and that, right? I mean, is that all going to be?
Right.
Yeah.
Like we go to the quarry, we choose the stone ourselves. Like there's a lot involved, and so coming up with the idea, I almost feel like is the easy part. It's the execution and doing it really well and finding the right craftsman to execute is the harder part. So if AI helps us find those people and connect us to them, just like on Instagram, I'm trolling, oh, this is a cool artist. Hey, can we work together? Like,
Yeah.
that's a great tool
Sure.
for connecting and communication.
Do you sense that a lot of people are finding you on Instagram?
I hope so. I don't know. I don't know. There are times, yes, the clients had said, oh, we've been following you for a while.
Right.
Yeah, we have had those, yeah.
Yeah. But you're not sharing a lot of your personal self on Instagram.
No, I'm not a sharer. I don't think people are that interested, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm not that interesting, but I just rather let the work speak for itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think more people are feeling that way, and I think there's going to be an interesting little tug of war going on.
Oh yeah, I mean, the people that are on managing Instagram or talking about, they're like, well, we get a lot of likes when there's a photo of you. And I'm like, but I'm not out for the likes. Like, I don't need a photo of me every post. Like, I want to talk about my work or my ideas, or maybe honor someone else and their ideas. So I don't necessarily need that kind of praise. Maybe I'm just older and
Right.
I don't need the likes. But I do understand people want to feel a connection. And if they learn about you through social media, like tonight, where we're live streaming,
Right.
so maybe they learn a little bit about us
Yeah.
this way, then that's great. But for me, I want to be of service. I want to help the students, make sure that if they need advice, we're here for them.
Exactly. So okay. So here we're here for the advice. We're here for questions. Who's got a question? Karen's got microphones right over here.
Oh no, AI.
Uh-oh, she's using AI to keep up with life. We'll find out more in a minute.
She just
All right.
ChatGPT'd her question.
Okay.
I may have used ChatGPT to create this question.
Okay. See?
No, just
At least she's
joking.
admitting it,
Just
all right?
joking.
No.
No.
Go ahead.
So as a student, that we always working project by ourselves, and I know in the real world that it wasn't like that. And I really appreciate that you always mention that your relationship with the craftsmanship, artist, and creator, builder. I was wondering, you may have some kind of situation when it comes with like conflicts or disagreement. I was wondering, how do you deal with that and make sure the process or get the job done?
Very good question. There's always conflict.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to have a little bit of tension anyway, because it's challenging all of us. Well, one is to bring the temperature down in the room right away. Like, okay, everyone, like let's, whatever's happening, we're going to figure this out. So Just getting everyone to calm down and maybe take a beat, and then we can talk about what the issue is and have some solutions to. But I don't love it when our employees come to us with problems, but don't bring some solutions. So bring some solutions. They may not be great ones, but at least it's getting the conversation started. So yeah, there's going to be some disagreements, and I think that's important. I don't think we're doing anybody a service by agreeing with the principle of the firm 100% of the time. So I have employees all the time that say, that's a really dumb idea. And I'm like, is it? Okay, let's not do it. Like, that's okay. Or maybe, or they're bringing me an idea and I'm like, that's a great idea. You'll get sued for that. Like, because I'm older and I know. Like, so I think it's important that we do challenge each other in a creative, friendly way. But if it gets ugly and gets a little adversarial, say with a builder or with, a builder, I think it's important that we all, take it down a notch, and then we can really come up with some solutions. Because it really is about collaboration. Even when things aren't going the way they go sideways, we really need to get it back on track, because that's what our job is.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yes, over here.
Yeah, so I had a question about how do you make your own voice stand? Because those are very different projects. But what is a Nicole Hollis room like based on, like the foundation?
What do you think it is?
Yeah.
I mean, because design-wise, it's very different. So I think it's the narrative first. Earlier, you spoke about spirit lifting, like rooms.
Yes.
And I think that's like one point.
Great. I'm glad we lifted
Good.
some
Were your spirits lifted by the spaces that you saw?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm really glad. No. That was the hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're all very different, and I'm glad for that. I don't want to be known for a particular style, but also, like I said, like they're all different architects as well. So the architectural style is different. They're all different clients, and they're all different sites. So we're responding to the specific site that it's in. So I think it's important to listen and really understand what the client wants, make the architect understand that you understand what they want, and then sort of supporting the ideas and bringing in the artistry and craft to that idea. But really, for me, there's rigor. I'm always reducing. I'm always saying, it's too much, and I don't have a lot of accessories. Like, I don't think you need a lot to convey an idea. I've been in some beautiful rooms that have a lot of ideas. I'm like, oh, it looks like they just took Pinterest and like took every idea and put it in the same room. And then there's nothing, it's like so many good ideas that nothing is good. Does that make sense? So I think if you have a strong concept and a strong point of view, then go with that. But don't get nervous and like start adding things on, because that just kind of dilutes it a little bit. Yeah.
Well, and I think your excellent question speaks to what I think is one of the big challenges that so many designers face. You ask the average designer, they will say, no, I listen to my client and then I create this room that's so personal for them. And yet many designers have a very similar look or feel or a house style of sorts. And so one begins to wonder, well, is that just that all your clients are requesting that same thing, or are you more comfortable leaning in that direction? And the wealth of diversity, as you just saw in these projects, speaks to clearly your willingness, but also your ability.
Yeah, to sort of channel that like.
Yes.
I'm gonna
and to really enter into their fantasy and to help them articulate it, as you say, because the average client couldn't tell you that they wanted that marble kitchen, but right, but how
none
extraordinary
of us knew
that they
we came up with it, and then we're like, what about this? And they're like, yes. But I think, just bringing them along on that journey is really important, and communicating the ideas and the why you chose that, and just like, well, I chose this and because I say so. And they're like, well, I don't really, it's very expensive. And you're like, so you really need to bring them along and understand why it costs what it costs, who made it, is it unique, what makes it unique. There's a lot of educating that goes on. You
and I have spoken in the past about neurodiversity And do you think that your own neurodiversity has made you more emotionally intelligent and aware?
Oh, definitely more hyper aware and hyper empathetic and anticipatory. Like I'm always anticipating someone's need or mood, or so I think it probably most definitely has come from that. Yeah. And sometimes that's undersold as to what an important skill that is to have in this field. I think we talked about that on the podcast where, I thought it was unique. Someone recommended a book. It's called I can't remember. And
we'll send it to you later. Okay.
The Dyslexic Advantage, and it has different top CEOs of companies who are dyslexic, or not just CEOs, but creatives. And Richard Branson, he's like, well, I know what I know, and I know what I don't know. And I think there was a consistent theme from all of them was like, I know one thing really, I know I can do this, but I'm not afraid to delegate the rest, where I'm not trying to control everything and everyone. Like, you're the best at what you do, then I want you to work for me, and you're the best accountant that I can have, and you're the best lawyer, and you're the best, purchasing agent. But I just do what I do, and I can spot talent. And I think that was an interesting takeaway from that book, was like a lot of those people were like, no, I just hire the best people to work for me. And that I don't do that. So I was like, oh, okay, it's okay to not know everything.
Yeah. I mean, and Nicole and I bond over the fact that school wasn't the easiest for us, and yet we've made our way in the world, right? Yeah. We're doing okay.
We're here.
Yeah. There you go. Who else has a question in the audience?
I'm right over here.
Oh.
Right here.
Okay.
I'm just curious if you could speak to the final styling of a room, past the architecture, the design, the artisans that you bring in. Do you take it all the way down to like the towels, the bedding, the pillows yourself? Or do you have a stylist?
Very big package to do all of that and to be thinking of all of that. And I don't think it's quite, people really clock that. For example, we've done 20,000 square foot home. I think, some clients are like, I'll clean my own bathrooms. I'm like, you have 14 bathrooms. Like they didn't even know that, And guest houses and, bedding for everyone and towels for everything. And it's, pool towels and bathroom towels and powder room towels, and they're custom because they have to have their initials on them. And this is all done by our studio, and it's all very considered and decided upon. And dishware, glassware, formal glassware, informal glassware.
You're doing all of that.
Entertaining, sushi service, tea service, coffee service.
Of course, your sushi service. I mean, hello.
They're in California.
Yeah.
So I think, there's a lot that goes into those huge packages. You'll be purchasing maybe 4,000 items, for the home. And that's not even the furniture. So it really is a lot of thought, a lot of process that goes into it, a lot of discussion. What's going to go on the coffee table? When we present the coffee table, we're already thinking about the objects that go on the coffee table. Or we know we need to find the right object, so it's definitely on the list of things to do. But it's a lot.
How big is your procurement team?
6 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a lot. Did I see a question over here?
Hi, Nicole. This is Karine with Carpenter's Workshop Gallery.
Hi, Karine.
We love working with you, of course, and delighted to see some of our artists up here. Question, at your level of practice, you're really operating at the intersection of art and design. Do you find yourself having to educate clients on the importance artistically on kind of the selection of a chair or a lamp as much as the art on their walls?
Absolutely, yes.
And how do you how do you shift their mindset in that regards?
I think it's unique in the environment we're in. We're working mostly in tech. And there's a lot of open mind thinking in tech, but also they're like, listen, I've been sitting at my desk in my dorm room, and now I'm, running a big company, but I've never gone to an art gallery. They get very intimidated. Rightfully so. I think when clients, I've discovered in New York where they're finance clients and they come up in the finance world and their bosses have the best suits and the best cars and the best houses and the best wine collection and go to the best restaurants. So their eye is a little more educated when they're working their way up in the industry. But when you're in tech, they're not doing that. They're like coming to work in flip-flops and a hoodie, and they're living with 5 guys in a house, and it's just they're not, their priority, their eye hasn't really been educated in art and design. And there's nothing wrong with that. But then when they come and say, okay, now I'm building this, beautiful home, and I've hired the best designer and the best architect, and I was like, well, do you have any art? And they're like, no. It's intimidating. So I think they don't understand why it costs what it costs. They don't understand what the process is. So it takes us a lot longer to bring them along. And I actually come to enjoy it because I see their faces. I see how they've changed. They get really into it. They start really getting. Some of them are like good friends with the artists now. Like I see them at Burning Man together. So it's really nice to be able to bring them along, bring them to the galleries. The gallerists, there's such a Carpenter's Workshop and Nicole Hollis, and all these galleries are so generous with their time, educating them, talking to them about the artists and what their process are. And I think they're really interested in learning. But if they walked into Gagosian today and saw a painting on the wall, they would be intimidated to ask because they didn't know a lot about art. And I think a lot of people feel that way.
Sure.
So I think just like taking it back and really just bringing it down to like process, and their understanding the process helps them understand the value, because it's their high value pieces that they're collecting.
And is there a huge interest in collectible furniture and?
Yeah, I think so, especially if you see in our projects, we don't have a lot of furniture.
Yeah.
Like I try and reduce it down to specific pieces, so the piece really needs to hold up and stand out. And so I think bringing these collectible artists to the clients, but also a lot of these collectible artists are open to commission. So if we say, we want to work with the artist, but it's a bigger house and so they can make a custom piece for them. So that's also kind of a component that we really like about that, aspect of commissioning new pieces with artists that are interested in creating something new.
Well, and it seems like so much of the art and the artisan's work seems to drive so much of the design and the space that you end up creating. Like this one artist's installation seems to inform so much of the spaces.
Yeah, it really is fun. And I think it's great to bring an artist in.
Which is also what makes them feel so different, to your point.
Yeah.
They didn't feel like cookie cutter spaces because the art or what had been created in the room is so dramatic.
I feel like, when I started a long time ago, so the early .com, they would come to me and say like, dude, I want a nightclub in my basement. And I'm like, what? Like, I can't, what? And then you go to the house, it's empty, and there's like a space shuttle bed. And I was like, yeah, not for me. Like, but they've all even these tech guys have grown up in 20 years.
Now they got all this money, and now they still were like, dude, I want a nightclub. And now you're like, sure, we'll make you a nightclub.
I'll give you the best nightclub. So yeah, I think it's like their taste has evolved. They've seen each other like buy nicer houses, nicer cars, or build. Johnny Ive was definitely an influence in design for them, and Steve Jobs. And so I think looking around after 20 years, they're really into design now, and clothes, and it's really interesting to see how they've evolved.
Yeah, and so interesting that you got to go along for the ride.
And they have kids and family now. It's interesting.
Question over here, yes.
Hi. I'm curious about the timing of working with the architect and the landscape designer. What have you found works really well in terms of who the client starts with and then how it evolves over time?
Great question. We love to get in very early, but we can't get in too early. We've been hired before the architect, and we're like, but we don't have a house to. So we got to wait till the architect gets hired and designs at least a floor plan so we can start responding. But it's really nice to collaborate with, because you've seen in our projects, they're very indoor-outdoor. So talking with the landscape architect, talking with the architect, and so we're all at the same table together. Clearly the architect's driving the house, the layout, the size of the house, materiality, but having our input along the way, really, when we get the plan, we know the rooms are gonna fit beds in them, they're gonna, you know, have a living room or a dining room that can fit, they wanna entertain for 14, and we have the right size room for it. So I think getting in early is really important. There's a lot of times we get calls and they're like, hey, we're about to finish up the house in 6 months and we need an interior designer, and we're like, too late. Yeah, you know, it's hard to design and order and get furniture in 6 months. That's highly impossible.
Yeah. So you just shut that down. You're like, no, we're not.
Kind of.
We're not your people.
Unless it's a repeat client and it's like, sorry, you know, we bought
Yeah.
a house this weekend in Aspen and we want you to fill it. Then we do the best we can. But it's a challenge. It's really, you have to be able to go back to your client and say, in order to do the kind of work that we do, we at least need a year of design time, and then we're ordering. So that's another, what, 9 months.
So you need at least a year of design time.
I mean, for these bigger estates that are under construction.
Sure.
Because
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
designing the bathrooms, the tile, the
Right, of
tile
course, those
layouts,
14
the
bathrooms. I mean,
vanities,
that takes time.
It's a
Sure.
lot of bathrooms.
Yeah.
A lot of kitchens and outdoor kitchen. I mean, it's a lot to, so we try and fast track those meetings. We're not talking about furniture in those meetings. We say to the clients, we're gonna have architecture meetings first, interior architecture. Let's make all those decisions so that the construction can start and continue. And then, but I'm not gonna be in a construction meeting and we're talking about like the cladding on the stone walls. And I'm like, but what about this fabric for the sofa? It's not good timing. They can't make all those decisions in one meeting anyway. So we try and break them down into bite sizes that they can make decisions. It's a lot to ask someone to make hundreds of decisions in one meeting.
Sure.
So we prioritize the meetings by decisions that need to be made, and then we have those meetings, meet with the clients, explain why it needs to, you know, this is why it needs to be made, so we can price for construction, so we can get construction started. Then we'll go back and start having furniture meetings. So it's a
lengthy
lot,
process.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I saw you had a question over here. Yes.
Yes, hi. So you kind of answered it at the end of your answer, but just kind of, so I'm a student here at NICOLEHOLLIS, but I also work for a firm in Brooklyn. It's a small firm, and I was just curious because when I was going and you were going through your slides of your projects, and it seems like these are very specific clients who have an unlimited budget and understand craftsmanship, and it's something that I feel like as I'm in these clients meetings with my boss, and I feel like because we are such a small firm, we haven't really made that jump yet from like being able to get people to understand that this is like a business that is like a craftsman business. And I was just wondering, like, how did you make that jump from like early in your career where you had clients that maybe just didn't understand what this business was, and you were able to make that jump from clients who had like smaller budgets or like would come on to and ask you to do it in like a month or 2 months or whatever,
Right.
and be able to get clients like you showed there. What was that jump?
I learned to say no. And it was hard. I said yes to a lot of projects, and then I learned I couldn't deliver. Their budget wasn't enough. And so it was so challenging. And I felt like it was my fault. And I'm like, wait, this is not enough money to furnish this house.
Yeah.
So can we have a smaller house? Or are there rooms that you just don't furnish? Because once you start adding it all up, they don't quite ever realize once you start adding up how many pieces. I mean, we just talked about even the towels and the bedding. That's a big cost right there. So I just started, well, I have a great business partner who's my husband, Lewis. And so we together vet the client, and we really just ask tough questions like, what is your budget? And we have a budget for every project. I know it looks like they're unlimited, but we do present budgets, and we always have an updated budget in our meetings, and we real-time update those budgets to clients and their family offices. We want to make sure that we're totally transparent. This is what we're spending, and this is what things cost. But it's really, sometimes you say yes to a project, and then you are painted in a corner where you're just like, I can't deliver. It's too short a lead time, it's too small a budget. So clients will call and say, you know, we need to get it done in 3 months. We're like, we would love to help you, but we just can't do that.
And then a follow-up question to that, because I've kind of, as working for different firms, I've seen clients who will go and outsource themselves, and like it's not in the contract, like you have to go through us and go through the trade and things like that. I was wondering if has that ever happened to you?
Doesn't really happen.
No. Okay.
I think our clients are a little too busy to do that, or, and I think there's a trust there. Like we're so transparent. Like you can buy it, but try and get it there in one piece. Good luck. Like it's the hardest part is like, you know, getting it installed and coordinating and calling the vendor 400 times to make sure it's shipped. And you know, do they really want to take that on? Be my guest, but I don't think that's the best use of their time.
For sure. All right.
Yeah. So it's hard. It was hard to say no, and now it's my favorite word.
Yeah. No. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over here.
Hey, Nicole, I'm Nancy. I'm the founder of The Rug Curator, and I just thought your rugs were spectacular.
Thank you.
And I partner with interior designers to create their own rugs. So I was curious, how involved do you get in the process granularly in the design of these rugs? And is that something that, you know, is a joy for you, or, you know, just elaborate a little bit on that?
I mean, it's usually the biggest part of the room is the rug. And we always start with the rug because it's the longest lead time item. It take a year, maybe longer, to make these big rugs. So it's really, we do put a lot of thought into it and a lot of creativity. And does it have a movement that carries you through the room subtly? So there are a lot of rugs in our office and all the time. And we, you know, lay them out on the floor for the clients to see, maybe smaller, but, you know, something to give them a sense. So we get pretty involved for sure.
So you custom design some of them yourself?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
and there's other firms that do it too. I mean, we buy, you know, from great rug people.
yeah, no, and rugs, I mean, are having a big moment. I mean, it's amazing.
Do they ever not have a moment?
Well, I feel like so many firms, rugs have become such a much bigger part of their whole business.
It's a really big part of the house for sure.
And as you say, you can do so much with the statement that you make.
It's
in
a
rugs.
big canvas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
So Nicole and I are curious, like of the students, who's thinking about leaning more towards residential design? Who's thinking about leaning more towards hospitality? Or yes, which one? Hospitality, both? Ideally, yeah.
Why not do both?
Same here. Residential. Okay. So, in wrapping up, let's just talk a little bit about residential design, what that's like. Hospitality design, kind of setting some expectations there. What's your sense?
Design is design. You're still solving problems. Hospitality design, you are solving problems faster. You don't have as much time to design. There's also usually a hard deadline of completion date, which never actually ever happens. It always misses it. But for you, you're tied to that date. So you really have to work quickly and efficiently. I think that hospitality design is so great because you can touch so many more people. Like more people get to experience the space. Everyday people get to experience the space. Where some of these homes, nobody gets to, you know, some people get to go, but not many. So I think that there's a nice sort of quality to working in a space that everyone gets to experience. But as I've built the firm, and we only started doing hospitality when our clients started requesting it. So I have a personal client, we did their home, but they're a developer and they want to build a property and they ask us to design the interiors, so we would do that. But it's just a different animal. The budgets are a lot less. I think things are not built to last, so I would love to spend a little more and know that this piece of furniture is going to last longer than 2 years, when it should last at least 5 to 10. But they're really grinding you on the budgets, and your fees are very low, so you have to take more projects so that you can sort of keep the lights on. So it's just a different pace. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, it's really fun. And the hospitality industry is a big service industry, and so they love to take you to dinners and to basketball games and ski trips. I don't even know.
So there's that side of it, sure.
There's that
Wined
fun
and
side of it.
dined.
So there's a lot of fun there and a lot
Yeah.
of, but there are different codes, there are different requirements you need to know. But it's definitely pretty fun to design a nightclub or a restaurant or, yeah, it's fun.
And residential, the flip side of that is?
Longer schedules, typically. I mean, for us, because we're building a lot of these projects from the ground up. And, higher budget for sure.
Yeah.
At least the things that they don't want to be redesigning their house in 2 to 5 years. So you are buying nicer quality pieces that will last a lifetime. And, higher art collections. And you just really get to personalize the space to a family or a person, where you're being so democratic with your design and hospitality because you don't know. So you kind of create the fantasy client. You're like, this client enjoys sitting on the lounger by the pool. Like, you don't know who they are, but you're creating a fantasy life for them. And it is an escape when you go to a resort and someone's thought everything through. Then you go home and say, why can't my house look like that? So a lot of the residential designers are doing hospitality because people want their hospitality to feel like a residence. So there's been a lot of crossover, which I think is great because it feels like a home away from home.
Yeah.
If I answered that question, I'm not sure.
No, I think you threaded that needle very nicely. You didn't try to encourage one way or the other. I know how you really feel, but I mean, but I think it's
you
great.
could talk to my CEO.
Great to hear both sides.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the poignant things that you said to me recently about hospitality is that often you have to sort of squint a little bit to see your original design.
That's true. So
it gets so altered, right? I mean,
yeah, they change your design without telling you. So that is the bummer. Like at the end, you're like, wait, that's not what? Like, where's the thing? And they just cut it out of the budget and never told you. And so there are moments like that are deflating, where you're just like, really? Like, I spent a lot of time and my personal time and my, very small fee designing this great thing, and then they just knock it out. And so I think you have to just have tougher skin, for sure.
Yeah, to be sure. Well, as you saw from the work and the projects that you saw tonight, Nicole Hollis is an extraordinary talent, and she's been sitting here in the room with all of you for the past actually 2 hours. So
we did great.
How extraordinary is that? Will you please join me in thanking Nicole Hollis for coming?
Thank you.
Wow. Really.
Thanks for having me.
Really.
It was good fun.
Yeah, it was great, and I really appreciate it so much.
Oh, yeah.